what's up guys, and welcome back to my Wednesday Photography 101 live. And my name is Jimmy Cheng. I'm a professional photographer, filmmaker and an Olympus ambassador. So if you're new here, this live stream is all about photography, filmmaking, micro four thirds, especially Olympus, of course. Well done. And just speaking of live stuff, I do have to step out for 1 second because I have a parcel apparently. Just 1 second. Oh, whoa. Okay. All right.
Jimmy?
Yes, I am. Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you. Right, I do have a parcel. So even though you may not see me, but I'm telling you now, I do have a parcel just arrived. And oh, look at this. I have a parcel arrived. More photography stuff. Okay, cool. And right, I have a very different setup today, which I'm going to be surprising you. And yeah, very cool. I cannot wait to show you guys. But anyway, it's a lot to go through today because today's topic is your most memorable camera. Yeah, I have to emphasize the S because there may be more than one a camera that you that in your life that is significant, that's important, that's interesting, that change your life as a photographer, right? And amazing, right? So let's say some hi to people first, and I might have to wash my hand again because yeah, I'm not supposed to touch a box and bring it in here. It's you know, this COVID-19 thing. I have to making sure that I'm clean. Yeah, okay. And good. Let's say hello to some people first. Craig, good morning. And yes, Craig, thank you. Yes, my family are doing extremely well. Thank you very much for asking. Patrick from UK, yay! And David Willis, yes, of course. Hello, hi Terry from Kent, and hello Plateau, and great stuff. Tetsu from Japan. Ohayo gozaimasu. And actually, it's konbanwa now, isn't it? It's konbanwa. It's evening time. David Cruz from Virginia, hello, and Era from New Brunswick, Canada. Woo, Canadian, yes. And Skylar King, yes, Taiwan, ni hao. Julian Romian from France. Bonjour, excellent. It's got loads of people coming from around the world. And yes, K1000 is on my list, so yeah. Okay, let me hand sanitize my hand first. Of course, I just touched the box. Give me 1 second, I'll be back. I'm going to have to put away the box first and then have to making sure that I'm completely disinfected. And then before I touch anything else. Right, I'm back. I'm so sorry, but you know, so unexpected. I didn't expect that parcel to arrive at this time, to be honest. I had no notification, but as you can see that my life is slowly getting back to normal. I'm receiving things left, right and center from all over the world now. So I'm hoping very soon I'll be able to go out and starting to shoot videos again, because I'm telling you, I have been looking forward to that day, you know, and I know you guys have been waiting for my videos for a long time now, but I'm actually having fun doing this lifestyle. I mean, let me know if you guys are enjoying this live stream, because I am actually very happy, especially, you know, I saw a lot of you guys also follow me onto my Facebook, which I do a daily stream between 11 to 11:30 a.m. Between Monday to Friday, so that is also very good as well. So let's say some few more hi as well, and then before I move on to today's topic. So Gareth from Wales, yes, and Robert, Victor, and WeWebT from Japan, and Eric, Christian, Kusat from Turkey, and hello, hi, excellent. Well, welcome back, and yes, I did mention today we are going to have a lot to go through, and I do have a couple of things I want to show you guys, because it will change the entire live stream altogether, and so long if it works properly, right? Okay, and so I have set up a lot of stuff here. I have a second camera right here, right? I'm not going to tell you what this is at the moment, but this thing does allow me to go outside to talk. I cannot wait. But and also, I have my iPad finally set up so I can see all of you guys. That means that when I'm going out to talk with you guys, I will be able to see all the comments and respond to it accordingly. But before I go out, let's go through the list, because I still want to access my computer. I still want to access the community post that I did a couple of days ago, and you guys had so much comments, so many stories that you guys share with me with your favorite and most memorable cameras. And so I have actually compiled a list of these little images of each of these models that you mentioned. I couldn't cover it all because too many of them, and but I'm going to bring them one by one on the screen, and just to bring back the memory lane, and then let's all enjoy a little bit of a nostalgic feeling, yeah, you know, in photography, you know, things that you really remember, because that's supposed to be your most memorable cameras, right? Cool stuff, right? And excellent stuff. Let's get right into it. Let's get right into it. So today's topic is, where did I put it now? Okay, there you go. Your most memorable camera. That is what I want to talk about, including mine. I want to share my own experience as well, not just you know, your thing. So, but let's go through your stuff as well. Then I'll talk about stuff probably right at the end. And in fact, some of the cameras that you guys mentioned were actually my favorite or most memorable cameras as well. So let's start it. Let's start it. I cannot wait because there's so much going on here. Right. It's no particular order. I'm just going to read from the top to bottom on my community post, and I'm going to jump over to the comment section to see what's your most memorable cameras and story behind it in the comment sections, and I'll be able to go through it as well. There will be too many. I don't know whether I can actually cover everything within the time frame that we have, because it could easily last like 2-3 hours. You know, I can see that straight away. And but I have limited power, especially for my wireless stuff, and so I probably would not be able to cover everything. So let's see how it goes, and then we'll take our pace and check our time. I have a full mug of coffee here because I know I'm going to talk a lot. Right. First of all is Renato. I suppose I have a bunch of milestone cameras. I started photography on film with my dad's Nikon FM. But it wasn't until I bought my first DSLR and I learned the most techniques, and that camera was Nikon D50. Right, cool stuff there. That's two things. And then he actually went back to film as well, because when he went back to film, he bought the Olympus XA and the Olympus OM1N. Whew, you got a few cameras going on there. But first of all, Nikon FM is a magnificent camera. Those people who shoot Nikon, especially from the film days, would definitely appreciate the significance of FM. It's definitely one of the most popular, you know, kind of like semi-consumer level SLRs back in the days, and definitely they're very, very good there. And D50, of course, is one of the most affordable DSLR at the time, rivaling the Canon's the 300 series, and then so that was really the, you know, the two between them, you know, just fighting like, you know, like World War IV or something, you know, just so, but they were all very, very capable and very, very important cameras for the digital evolution. So I wasn't surprised that if you mentioned D50, or in fact Canon's 300D or 350D, you know, like one of these cameras in your list, because they really brought up the digital photography into the scene. So it's actually very, very exciting. So you mentioned that D50, absolutely bang on there. And then when you went back to film, and that's when it got interesting, because Olympus XA, let me just give you the photograph, what the XA looks like, yeah, because I actually have three. And I still have it, I actually have it, but because I recently moved to this house, and the XA is actually in my box somewhere, so I haven't actually opened all my boxes yet, so the cameras are still in there. I actually have a lot of collections, Olympus collections in my box, and so this is the Olympus XA. Don't get, you know, confused with this little guy here. You know, it does look like a point and shoot camera, and in fact it is a point and shoot camera, kind of, and but there's one big difference there. Olympus made a series of XA cameras there. I mean, this is the original XA. Then they have the XA2, XA3, XA4, and then I personally believe the XA is the most interesting and the most significant across the entire range. And why I would say that though, first of all, okay, this thing is cheap as hell when it first came out, and then it was one of Olympus ethics, you know, that I told you guys again and again, and not just because I'm an Olympus ambassador, but because that's their thing. They want to make photography affordable. They never really, you know, be one of those guys that, oh, I care about market share, I care about profit, you know, I care about this and that. They made the Pen F because it's half frame. They can double up each 135 film negative into double frame. So that means that if you got a roll of 36, it becomes 72. It basically translates into cheaper photography because you know, okay, it may sound affordable, but still for many people may not actually have the money to buy films and develop films and things like back in the old days. So by making it half the size, that means that you're doubling the amount you can shoot on every single roll, essentially kind of half the cost of what you will get in terms of photography. So that is magnificent, right? So the XA was exactly like that. It was cheap, it was plastic, but it has a 2.8 aperture lens, 35mm. It's very, very good. More than that, yeah, you know, most point and shoot cameras, either using zone focus or having a autofocus, yeah, in the later stage. This particular guy is actually a fully functional rangefinder camera. You heard that right there. This XA is a rangefinder, so you can actually adjust the focusing. You can actually see the prism moving in the viewfinder. So this is actually a very, very interesting rangefinder plastic camera, and it is very, very cool. I do love this guy. That's why I still have 3 of them in my possession, and I like to shoot with it. Having said that, I wouldn't say it's, you know, the lens is super sharp or by any means, because it wasn't a pro camera, it wasn't a serious camera. It was aiming for actually consumers who wanted to enjoy photography or on the side, more like a casual thing. But they made a classic, they made a rangefinder camera in a plastic body, and that is what is so special about it. Then of course, Renato's other camera is the OM1N. So I'm going to bring into it in a minute, because quite a few of you guys actually say OM1, so they're all about the same thing. So I'm going to bring that photos a bit later. So now we have another guy. By the way, how did you choose your username? Because some of them I just cannot pronounce for some reasons. This is called the Dead Clowns Are Funny. Dead Clowns Are Funny. That's how I pronounce it. So every camera I've owned was important, and the one I consider most influential is giving me hope and that I might be able to get decent and proper shot was the EOS 350D. That's exactly what I was telling you about the Nikon D50. Same thing, you know, there's no difference. These two guys were like basically competing head to head during that era, and it's the most affordable digital camera. I mean, like serious digital cameras back in the days. You can change lenses at proper SLR digital, and I really remember the time when, you know, everything was shifting between the traditional SLR to DSLR. You know, that period, you know, I really remember, you know, everyone debating. Even a professional was saying, you know, oh, maybe I should jump over to digital, but some weren't, because they weren't used to digital technology, and it was really confusing at the time. But it was popular. It was so popular because they were relatively cheap, not as cheap as today's, because I think, if I remember correctly, the very first affordable DSLR from Canon, the 300D, was about $999. I think it was just under the £1,000 and dollar a camera. So it was expensive for an entry-level camera, but it was the very first one to actually break that 1,000 barrier. So that's how significant it was. But it was cool because everything just shifted downhill afterward, and things got cheaper, market got more competitive, and some companies actually went out of business. Like Minolta is a very good example. Speaking of Minolta, of course there is something about Minolta here. And let me just go back to Terry. Terry, you posted something about Minolta. And let me just give you guys the picture of the Minolta that he used to shoot. And there we go. This is the Minolta X700. And I'm telling you, man, today I'm going to geek it out. I'm going to geek it out for you guys. And I rarely talk about that many cameras at one time, yeah, at one single video. This is going to be nuts, man. I'm going to be crazy. And so the Minolta X700 is a fantastic manual camera that featuring aperture priority, which is kind of like the Canon's AE1 and the FE1, that kind of thing, you know, in Nikon. They are all around the same era and the early 80s, but these stuff are cool. They are built as a tank, you know, like seriously, if you haven't held one of these things, you know, I suggest you try it. You know, you don't have to buy it, just try it. Feel the difference of like an old-time SLR compared to modern-day digital cameras. And then you understand why I love Olympus camera gears, because it has the same feel. Which if you go to like some of the cameras like you know, the DSLRs, you know, the cheaper range for especially, they are horrible. You know, I'm talking about, you know, like just oops. And then the like even an EM10, which is also on the list, and some of you guys, the EM10 Mark II and Mark III, even with these guys here, it still feels good in the hand. And you know, in terms of build quality, I really cannot fault Olympus stuff. Once again, I'm not selling them. I'm just saying the truth, because I have held a lot of different cameras in my time, and so it's a definitely very, very cool camera. So let's go to another guy here, and let's see. I got so many to talk about. So Robin, you said your most memorable camera is the Canon 1D Mark II, not the 1DS, the Mark II, the 1D. So okay, these days I'm just trying to bring up the actual photo here. Where did I put it? You know, like you guys actually completely confused my timeline here because I've got so many things here. Right, okay, there we go. The Canon 1D. Okay, if you guys are not familiar with the Canon 1D series, they are the top of the range DSLR. Very much like the Olympus EM1X, it has a built-in vertical grip. So in terms of construction, this thing is hard to beat, is really tough. You know, they are aiming for professional journalists and sports photographer who really don't give a shit about the camera bodies, and they can chuck them around, and they know this thing will be bulletproof. And it's just more like a G-Shock of the camera world. But I know, I'm pretty sure that the EM1X is definitely better in terms of build. That's how I feel it anyway. But I haven't held, trust me, I haven't held the EOS 1D X Mark III, which is the latest one. I'm pretty sure it's as good as build as the EM1X as well. But let's talk about the 1D first. Back in the time, the Canon 1D, or the Canon in general, they have split into two different model lines for the 1 series. Yeah, because traditionally, if you look back into the film era, all they ever had was one professional body, the 1. Like this, the 1, then the 1N and the 1V. You know, they are built to, you know, super high standard. The construction, the weather seal, the speed of the AF and everything like that is supposed to be another league above the rest of the consumer levels that they produce at the time. So the 1D series was exactly like that. But Canon had different strategy back then. When they first jumped into the full frame market, and then they had introduced what they call the 1DS. I mean, I never knew what the S stand for. You know, these days a lot of the S's stand for many things. Like Panasonic, they use the S for low light stuff, and then they have the like the latest Canon 5D RS is for high resolution. So the S stand for many things in Canons or and many other kind of camera manufacturers. But back in the days, the 1DS was the full frame, proper full frame camera. And then the 1D was crop. It's the APS-H. So it's not APS-C, it's APS-H sensor. So it's slightly larger than APS-C, but smaller than full frame, kind of in between in a way. And the reason is, the 1D was built for speed. So like a bit like you know, the Micro Four Thirds, the EOS, sorry, EM1 series. I'm going to get confused very soon because of all these numbers and model names. And the 1D was, because it's smaller sensor, so that means it requires less processing power. That means you can increase the speed, and also slightly less megapixels as well. So they have the 1D Mark I, Mark II, Mark III, before eventually Canon actually merged them together to have the 1DX. So that's how the 1DX came about. You know, kind of merged the 1DS line and the 1D together into a speed demon, yet giving you a very high dynamic range photograph. Although in terms of resolution, the 1DX is still not as good as the, let's say, the 5D Mark IV, nor the 5D SR, of course. And then it's very, very different type of thing. It's still aiming for speed, so it's still kind of for the sport journalists, you know, maybe war photographer. So megapixel is not really their thing, you know, all they need just to capture that moment. But having said that, it's still plenty. Like I mentioned many times, 8 megapixel is all you need for whatever you do. That's it. Okay, cool stuff. And let's see what else in here. And we talked about 1D now, and Pandero, you are nominating your EM5 Mark II. Yes, I like the EM5 Mark II, but now he's shooting 2 EM1 Mark II. And but yeah, EM5 Mark II is a significant camera, but I'm going to jump onto the EM1 Mark I in a minute because that's my favorite. So let's continue on. And blah blah blah, that's your username. So blah 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 actually said Zenith. Do you guys know who what Zenith is? I'm going to bring up a camera photo here now. This is a Zenith E. Right, in fact, there were a couple of you guys talked about Zenith in your post here. And the Zenith E is, I would say in Russian terms, the most significant SLR. Because it's almost like the Pentax K1000, yeah, which is also on the list here. It's been around for like forever. You know, it's just there everywhere. You know, if you go to Russia, I'm pretty sure if you go to any camera store, you probably see one lying around. If you go to flea market, you probably see them lying around. You go to eBay, you see them everywhere. It's just so saturated. They've made like so many of these, and in fact, it's a very, very simple mechanical camera that is so cheap. And I'm not joking, because if you go to a lot of film school, you know, like not film school, I mean like photography school, when they suggest you to buy a couple film cameras, and you know, for practicing and also to learn about photography, they either suggest you a Pentax or a Zenith, because these two are the most affordable cameras for students. So it's just perfect kind of learning tool. And however, the Zenith E is not as reliable or as advanced compared to, let's say, the Pentax K series, because obviously the Pentax has better OVF. You know, the viewfinder is absolutely gorgeous. It's big and huge. Construction is obviously a lot better, built tight. You know, the body is really like a solid thing. You know, and some of the K1000 just have a better like durability into the shutter compared to the Zenith. Zenith is by comparison very fragile, and you know, just generally just not very well put together. But they are dirt cheap. They are so cheap, and you can get them for like 15 quid. You know, sometimes you can go all the way to about 50-60 pounds depending on the condition. But seriously, you don't have to spend that much if your aim is just to learn about photography. Just pick the cheaper one. You know, if it doesn't work, chuck it. Just get another one. It's so cheap. You know, it's cheaper than buying a roll of film. You know, these days it's just really something, right? To be honest, I have 6 of these. I still have 6 of these in my boxes somewhere, and which I can't wait to show you guys these Zenith E, because I have a couple of really weird ones, so I wanted to show you. But anyway, this is actually a pretty cool camera, and it's also a very good camera for you to disassemble and learn about the inner workings of a camera as well. You know, especially if you're really like feeling a bit geeky, want to learn about the springs and how the film got rewind and things like that, how the shutter works, how the mirror works, and so forth. Yeah, because these are SLR, proper SLRs. So you can spend £15, buy the body. Yeah, just take it apart. Just have some fun and don't worry about it, you know, because it's so cheap, right? Okay, cool. And let's move on to the next one. And I'm getting excited. You see, I'm getting just so excited. And Lizzie, Dream, your camera is GH5, right? Not surprisingly, I'm actually, well, not surprising, but I'm surprised at the same time. Not many people actually talked about the GX5, right? There's a reason why Panasonic still sells the GX5, and I know the rumored GX6 is coming around the corner, but the GX5 is definitely propelled the filmmaking making market, especially for amateur and also from just slightly smaller commercial environments, because they make video affordable. And they have all sorts of settings there, all sorts of codecs and all sorts of compressions that you can utilize to create all sorts of different things. And if you are a newbie in filmmaking, this camera can be a bit overwhelming, but it's also a relatively good still cameras. Not as good as the G9, of course, you know, because G9 is definitely more of the EM1 Mark II and Mark III rival, but the GX5 is more of a proper video camera that has photography capabilities. The G9 just kind of the other way around. But I think the GX5 is significant, and I'm rightfully so. I think that lucid, you know, you make your choice. If you shoot that thing every single day, that is your most memorable. And I do like this camera. I held it a few times. It's definitely bigger and chunkier than my EM1, and but in terms of color science, I mean, that's only my preference, that I still prefer the Olympus color science than the Lumix in general, not just about GX5. But it's a great camera. Thank you for listing it up. Very good. The next one, Mariano Anton, you mentioned about PenF. Who doesn't like PenF here? All of you, raise your hand if you like PenF. I love PenF. And although it's not my memorable cameras, it's my favorite cameras, but it's not my most memorable camera. So you have to make that clear, because when I say memorable, it has to be something that changed your life. It has to be something that means something really significant to you. The PenF, I have it right here somewhere. Shit, where did I put it? Oh, over the other side. And I say I have cameras all lying around here. And let me bring it over. Right, the PenF here. Right. Yes, this guy is definitely a lovely camera. It's my favorite, but it's not my most memorable. But Mariano, it is your most memorable, because he used to use DSLR, and this is the camera, this is the bridge that made him jump over to the mirrorless world, the fabulous mirrorless world. This is it. So thank you for saying that. And for me, I made a similar sort of decision, but the camera wasn't PenF at the time. I'm going to tell you a little bit about that later. So the PenF is definitely gorgeous. I love it. And he now uses the EM1 Mark III. I'm pretty certain that it will be a night and day difference in terms of performance, because the EM1 Mark III AF especially is kind of like 10 years away from the PenF. Not saying PenF is slouch or slow by any means. It's still a very capable camera, but the EM1 Mark III is just so much better, and in terms of AF performance, really, really good. And Jesse, you are having some weird cameras there, but I like it. I like a really, really cool camera. Right, guys, listen to this camera, yeah? Listen, I'm gonna bring up the photo first before I say anything. Let me find out from my thing here, from my list. Where the heck did I put it? I got so many. Okay. Oh, there you go. I found it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Right. Okay. Who knows Casio makes camera? Yeah. I know some of you may do. If you're camera geeks like me, you know, you definitely would know Casio make cameras. Casio was actually one of the main guys who produced a lot of these so-called fashionable and high quality point and shoot cameras back in the early 2000s. You know, they were one of the main players, and I'm not joking, yeah? And if you go back to the history, people who, from my era, you know, you would definitely know the X-Slim range. You know, the reason they call it X-Slim, because they are very, very slim, very, very portable cameras. They're just like credit card size. They're very, very thin, and yet very capable for the time. This particular one has 3 megapixels, so nothing to scream about, but back in the days, 3 megapixel is a lot. Early 2000, yeah? And then and this thing, you look at the look of it. How gorgeous is that? Full aluminium, 4 little nuts on each of the corner that makes it look like a proper Casio GShock. Gosh, I have my GShock here. Look at that. Like, I have my yellow G-Shock here. This is what this company makes. Apart from calculators, they make cameras, and they were really selling out, you know. And then it was a hot thing, especially, you know, for good 5 or 6 years. Casio was like really up in the top 5 in terms of camera world, and I'm not joking, yeah. And it's unfortunate they never really continue, you know, and doing camera business. So, but they never really kind of bother about getting into slightly more serious market, like doing the R&D for mirrorless cameras, or even producing anything larger than just these little guys here. And as you know, since Mr. Jobs, Steve Jobs, introduced the iPhone, it literally single-handedly killed the entire point-and-shoot market, and that's it. And that's full stop for all the point-and-shoot. And from that point onward, Casio's market was shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. Eventually, it kind of disappeared from the global market. Having said that, Casio is still around in Japan, in Asia. You know, they still produce these little kind of niche point-and-shoot cameras and portable cameras. They still have them, and some of them are selfie cameras and really dedicated for selfie-er. Do we have that term, selfie-er? But anyway, you know what I mean. Yeah, these people who take selfies all the time for professional. Yeah, and then so they have, and they're still functioning, you know, in Asia. But in the Western world now, you know, it'll be a rare sight to see a Casio point-and-shoot these days, and they simply just don't exist. Companies are not buying them for resale, and then because they're just not popular anymore, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm interested. Thank you for bringing that up, Jesse. And really, really, really cool. And one more thing about this particular camera, yeah, right? You know, in our cameras, you know, like I'm just using Olympus as an example. Yeah, we have custom function button. Yeah, you know, most camera has C1, C2. Some side higher end camera will have C1, C2, C3, and the latest EM1 Mark III and the EM1X will have all 4 custom mode. Yeah, so you can store aperture, ISO, and all these different variables. Yeah, into a specific setting. This is what custom mode means. Yeah, this digital camera, this Casio X700. Listen, 999 presets. Flicking hell. How can you have that many presets you can store in the thing? 999. I've never seen anything can do that many. Oh man, that is just absolutely nuts. But I'm telling you, this is what Casio used to do. Yeah, they just unbelievable. Okay, let's move on. Gosh, I'm sweating already. Okay, Arif, you like your Olympus because your camera is, I'm going to bring up next up, your camera is the Olympus E3, right? Okay, for those Olympus fanboys here, you know, and you would know this camera, right? Okay, this is probably the most advanced 4/3 cameras for Olympus, and this is the last professional 4/3 DSLR that ever existed, you know, before they switched from the 4/3 to micro 4/3, and it's a beast. You know, it's basically an EM1 in the 4/3 body, kind of just larger, bigger, have a mirror box inside, and just look at this. This is sexy, right? You know, even if sell today as a mirrorless micro 4/3 body, I'm pretty sure this thing will still sell because it looks gorgeous. And this is something I think Olympus has really sussed out the aesthetic of the camera itself, the design-wise. I'm telling you, design, and this thing just looks really, really nice. And but as I said many times when I talk about Olympus, you know, before, I think the 4/3 cameras that Olympus ever produced were just way over engineered. They make it so bulky and makes the reason for going 4/3 just not really attractive. But look at the body, is as big and heavy as a proper DSLR from a full frame or APS-C, and so your supposedly weight saving and more portable form factor didn't exist anymore. This thing was just just a beast, you know. And but having said that, the E3 was really cool. And I just see Morgan's you talked about E5. Yes, E3, E5, but E5 was the biggest things. And you can see the IS there. You can see the IS. That's kind of the beginning things. The IS, image stabilization in body, and that is awesome. But I do like E3. I know a friend and who has about 2 or 3 E3 before, and then they are really good camera. But he did say that there are a lot of electronic problems, especially later on when the camera got a bit older, and because Olympus already stopped servicing the camera, so that he couldn't source parts. So eventually, once the camera packed up, and it retired it, and he has to get another one. If not, then he just moved on. And Ryan, you have a weird camera on your list as well, and here it is. This is the Sigma DP. Yeah, I don't know what to say about this camera, and I'm not sure exactly what you guys think about DP. Not only is weird to look at, it's just a weird camera, right? Okay, Sigma is a very innovative and interesting camera, let's put it that way. They don't mind experimenting, let's put it that way. And they have been around for ages, of course. You know, you guys, probably some of you go use Sigma lenses, right? And they are very good optic wise. And in fact, their sensors, their Vavion sensors is actually pretty amazing, the technology behind it. But it just never really gone to the ultra popular routes for some reason. You never really got adapted. But they're still trying, you know, like the latest cameras, and then they're still trying, and still as odd as ever. You know, like I spoke to a lot of magazine editors, a lot of reviewers, and when I go to events and things like that, they all talked about Sigma, and they all have similar kind of reaction when we talked about it. Is that they're very experimental. You know, the image quality is actually very good. The lenses, of course, they're very good lenses. But just the form factor, just the shape, just the usability, just the handling, it just weird. That's the only word I can think of. It's a bit weird. This kind of camera that you may not want to hold every day. You may not want to take out the shoot every day. But Ryan, you like it because it's unique. But that's your camera. If that's a camera that got you into photography, and this is, of course, is a memorable camera for you, and I have nothing against it. Like I said, I like photography. I like all the cameras companies because they all brought together innovations and push each other in terms of boundaries and move the entire industry forward, right? That's why I've never really liked to say bad things about other cameras, to be quite honest. And especially when I hate people like starting to say, oh, this is the end of this is the end of that. Like recently, I'm pretty sure you all heard that, and Olympus' career is closing, and yes, that is a fact. And but you also heard that there is also a lot of political reasons behind it, not because Olympus is in trouble and such and things like that. But to be honest, if people are in trouble, there are 2 or 3 companies I can instantly name, but I don't want to go that route there to tell you about which companies are really doing badly. And I don't want any camera companies to go, full stop. You know, I think they should all be here. They should all continue to innovate. They could all continue to push the technology forward. And to be honest, I just like them all. You know, of course, I love Olympus because at the moment, because not just because I'm an ambassador, I use the gear. I just love using the gear. It suits my needs. So if certain cameras, certain brand that suits your needs, and so be it. You know, I'm not against anything. I don't want to talk bad about anything. You know, sometimes I may make bad jokes between cameras companies only because I want to create conversation, but ultimately I'm still a photographer. I like to see these company brands floating around, like Minolta. I love Minolta. Unfortunately, they folded and then Sony bought them and now becoming this Alpha series, but it's the same thing. So let's see Rob shoot photo. You have something that I have also, which is, let me find it somewhere in my list here, and oh gosh, where is it? I can't find it. Where is it? Oh shit, I can't find it. I'm pretty sure I had it. Okay, I may not have it. Right. Rob shoot photo. Your camera is the Pentax ME Super. I love that camera. I have the black one, and which is actually rare one apparently. I don't know, and I just have the black one, and that is also kind of very similar to Terry, your camera, the Minolta X700. You know, very kind of similar era. It's semi-auto, got aperture priority, and it's just a phenomenal, built like a tank camera that can never destroyed. So it's a very, very good camera. I love that thing, and in fact, you know, it's also a very popular camera as well. And Pentax, you know, even though these days, this day and age, people don't talk about Pentax that much. Back in the SLR days, you know, film days, yeah, Pentax was a big player. They made so many cool cameras, and like I said, a lot of this camera just never quite make it when photography went digital, and that's a sad thing to see, you know. And they just, I don't know what happened there, whether they just never foresee the popularity in digital terms, or they just never pay attention to the evolutions of photography, or they just didn't believe in digital photography. Because just like Sony, right? Sony used to love the Trinitron the televisions, and they never really bothered about the LCD panels and things like that. You know, they make big mistakes. You know, that's probably what happened back in them days. So you never know, obviously, behind closed door, who knows? Okay, and Camille, you have, okay, you also talked about Zenith. That's another one, Zenith ET and 122. Of course, now you have EM10 and EM1 and EM1 as well, because these are cool cameras. But the Zenith, once again, it popped up. So you see, many people use Zenith before, and they still around, they're kicking around, really, really cool. And here go, foil painter, right? Foil painter, and you nominate Pentax K1000, and then also digital is the Olympus E300. Wow. And then I got the 5D Mark II, which is a trailblazer, and I still have these cameras today. I love various point and shoot cameras from Nikon and Sony. Right, Pentax K100, absolutely, like I mentioned, the significance behind it is one of the longest production cameras ever existed, almost, you know, apart from Zenith, I think. And then it just a very popular full mechanical SLRs that doesn't require a battery to function. Yeah, you know, you can just use it. That's it. Nothing wrong. Just like the Leica M6, M2, M3, so forth. You know, they're all mechanical cameras. And one good thing about mechanical cameras is that it can never break. Well, even if it breaks, it's very easy to repair because there's no electronic circuit support there, nothing to burn. And if anything got rusty, you can just take it apart, change the bearings, change a little bit of gear, you know, like just scrub out the rust or something, lubricate them again, and bang, there you go, it works again. It's simple camera. Okay, that's cool. And also all dinosaur and retro cameras, the OM1, ooh, OM1. And then the wife has the EOS 500. Oh, I love the 5, I remember the 500. Wow. Yeah, and the OM1, of course, I love the OM1. I would still love to own an OM1 cameras, and this will be my next purchase for my film camera collections. I'm pretty sure I will get one at some point, and which is funny, because even though I'm an Olympus ambassador, I don't have the OM cameras, film cameras. Yeah, it's weird. So I promised myself I'm gonna get one, definitely, for sure. I promised myself. Otherwise, Olympus will kill me, and Olympus will sack me. So I don't want that to happen. I have to do something now, damn it. Right, and okay, I'm just have to skip through a little bit more. Ooh, more OM1 as well. Nicholas also talked about OM1, so like, woo, you guys are really loving the OM1. In fact, if you go on eBay now, it's still like, see there how many people are in love with the OM1. Not only because it's the mechanical camera, but also the look. It's just timeless. It's a beautiful camera. Just like the OM digital cameras, you know, they are just very sexy to look at. It's just amazing. Bam Bam Marble from Hong Kong, hello. And your camera is also the OM1 as well. See how many OM1 there is. Just amazing. Okay, right. William, no camera but my wife, but Olympus is my best too. My 6th camera went from phone, Canon 2000D, 80D, 5D, Nikon, back to Olympus. Okay, and Marticus, you are also same as me as well. Pentax ME Super, excellent stuff. Shaka, yeah, you got the GF1. Oh, I love the GF1 AC. Very nice camera, very nice camera. I still like that camera, to be honest. It looks good. I think it looks good for Panasonic. And okay, there you go, Balboa 0621. You nominate OMD EM5 Mark 1. Okay, whew. Coffee time. Right, OMD EM5 Mark 1 is one of my most memorable cameras. Because why? That's the camera that got me into Olympus, and that's a fact, right? Of course, if you look back in my history, you know, like I told you many guys before, if you guys been following me, you know exactly what I'm talking about, yeah? I was a Canon guy for so many years. I started my photography with Leica and Canon, lots and lots of stuff, like dated back 20 years ago. And I never had any Olympus cameras until I bought the EM5 Mark 1. And you know what that caused me to do that and make the decision is, okay, that's a little bit of story here. I got to Hong Kong. I was in Hong Kong at the time. I was still having my 5D Mark II at the time. And obviously heavy stuff, backpack, you know, just traveling around in Hong Kong, just coming up from the MTR station. Walking up the stairs in Central, I remember Central. And then coming up, I can't remember exact exit point, but I came out this massive tall high-rise building in front of me, and then they usually have this big billboard, you know, like for advertising, yeah. And it was that bloody billboard, yeah. It's right in front of me, showing me a big, handsome gentleman holding. Okay, I'm not interested in the gentleman yet, just to make that clear. Holding a very sexy-looking silver EM5 camera, just right in front of me. I looked at it. I said, "Oh, gosh!" And I looked back down with my my Canon DSLR. That is definitely way better looking than this beast here. I would take that any day. And you know what? Yeah, immediately, I would say about a couple of hours later, I went and searched for the camera. And because that billboard came out and the camera literally just launched in Hong Kong, so it wasn't widely available in Hong Kong at that moment in time, even though they started advertising. And then so they had limited stock around. So I went and searching. I finally found a camera shop that actually sells the EM5, and I saw it, and I just couldn't wait. I asked the guy, can I hold that thing? And I held it on my hand for about 5 seconds. And I actually asked the sales guy, can I have a kit, please? I bought the kit with the 12 to 50 EZ lens. And then, and that was it. That was my start of the Olympus journey. And that's the fact. The 5-axis stabilizer, the 5D stabilization, the IBIS blew my mind. The image quality was really good. The form factor was just amazing. And then even with the kit lens, I thought the image quality wasn't actually bad at all. Compare well with my Canon stuff. It was that was it. You know, I never looked back afterward. You know, then I got the Mark II, of course the Mark III now, and then yeah, the rest is history. That EM5 Mark I really started my journey in Olympus and the Micro Four Thirds mirrorless in general. So that is a significant and most memorable cameras that I never ever would forget. That's cool. Right, Marco? You have an interesting camera as well, because your nomination is the Olympus 8080, yeah? Whoa, the 8080 is definitely amazing, yeah? Because I want to show you guys what this is. Look at this guys here, and it's really something. Right, I don't know if you guys remember back in the days, there are some digital cameras. They call the prosumer camera. That kind of, that was the term before the bridge camera came about. It was supposed to be a feature pack digital camera, has massive zoom range, superb optics, ergonomics that can rival a traditional DSLR, that kind of thing. And then it was very popular. Seriously, these things they're big and huge and chunky, and then but they're kind of cool. They really fit into that mid-2000 era, and then it was so many. Olympus produced this one, the C8080, and then for Canon has something, Nikon has something. Not entirely sure where Pentax did anything, and but pretty sure all the big boys has something to go about these things. Panasonic didn't even exist yet, and that with this sort of market, I actually have something to show you guys. Right, I haven't shown anybody yet about this because I was supposed to do a review on it. Right. Whew. Good morning, guys, and look at what I have here. Right, if you guys can see it, yes. Who can tell me what this is? Who can tell me what exactly this camera is? Or if I can fit this in properly. Oh, I can't fit it properly. Okay, I can't fit it properly. Nope, I can't. But anyway, who can tell me what this is? Nope. This is the Canon Pro 1. Oh, this is a very interesting camera. It's almost like the C8080. It's supposed to have DSLR ergonomics, like a big grip here. All the functions and button, LCD and the top plate. And then it has a flip out screen, fully articulated. Look at this, fully articulated. EVF, woo! And then a proper professional L series lens in a body like this, in accept CF card as well. Oh my goodness, the spec of this thing is just phenomenal. And well, this is the Canon Pro 1, and I'm telling you, this is some kind of camera here, and I love these things. And I remember when it first came out, it was so bloody damn expensive. Yeah, I didn't buy this one when it was brand new. I only bought it recently because I just suddenly remember it. And then it's cool. I just wanted to have it in my collection because I think this was a significant camera back in the days. Because the year after that was launched, the very famous Canon EOS 5D came out. It's a full frame cameras, which only a few £100 more than this. This thing was expensive, I'm telling you. The Pro 1 was very expensive when it first came out. And this is something cool, right? And so I wanted to show you guys later on. So if you want to see a review, stay tuned for my review video for that particular camera. And I really want to do an old school look back video on that camera. So the 8080 is very cool. It has similar features like the Pro 1, and the lens may not be as good, but definitely a very featureful camera. Really, really amazing. So thank you for that. And Antonio, your nomination is once again the 8080 and also the Trip 35. Ooh. Who doesn't know the Trip camera? If you're an Olympus fanboy, once again, I'm pretty certain, very, very certain you know the Trip camera. I'm trying to bring it up. So this is the Olympus Trip. And even today, it's still a very popular film cameras among all these analog lovers out there. And they still love this thing because of the portability, the size, the form factor, the look is just so sexy, just like a miniature Leica camera. And it's a cool camera. It's a fully functional camera. It's really amazing. Got very good optic. I wouldn't say like stunning sharp optics, but it's definitely very interesting camera. And one of the most popular cameras that Olympus has ever produced. Period. And that's how good it is and how popular it was. Hello, Udo. Excellent. And let's see. I'm gonna just try to run through a few more, and after that, I'm gonna go outside, have some fresh air, and continue talking to you guys with the with other things I have in my discussion here. So let's see here. Oh, 17 liking. Okay, you nominated, wow, Kodak Fiesta. It's a brownie film, brownie cameras. If you guys not familiar with it, okay, I'm gonna show you because I did download a picture of it. If you guys don't know what a Fiesta looks like, this is a Kodak Brownie Fiesta. It was a popular camera, I can tell you. Very, very popular consumer level cameras, and I personally haven't used one. I haven't owned one either, but I know about it, but not in depth. Something that perhaps I could try to get my hands on one, because you can get 1:7 film still. Yes, you can. And I've got a couple of links if you guys are interested. I've got a couple of links that you can use to buy 1:7 film. And then so it's actually cool. Maybe something I will try in the future, but it's definitely an interesting alternative, definitely. And John Dearden. Okay, only had the EM10 Mark III for 3 months. Excellent. Previous camera was the Nikon Coolpix P900. So you're liking your EM10? I'm pretty sure you are. Otherwise, that wouldn't be your memorable cameras, right? This is your list. So that is cool. Excellent. And Razel, you have nominated Leica M2 fancy camera. I like it because I had an M2, although I sold it for the M6, but I like it. I personally think film Leica camera, especially the older ones, is definitely worth the investment because they never really go down in value. In fact, they actually appreciate over times. And if you go for the older fully mechanical cameras like the M2, M3, M6, M4, even the M5 are very, very, very good. And I'm not joking, yeah. I mean, you can afford the optics, and that's even better because Leica optics is definitely on another level. But of course, you know, like he actually talk about the Voigtlander color scoper 35mm lens. So you know, Voigtlander also make M-mount lenses, which all the cameras I just said uses. So these are very, very good combinations there that you really cannot go wrong with a Leica camera. So if you're into a little bit of an analog photography, maybe, yeah, if you can afford it, just invest in a Leica. Not so much about being a fanboy or not, you know, just to have something that kind of can outlast you, maybe like even your grandchildren, because these things just do not break, full stop. They are just here forever. I mean, you can see the M3 was launched in the 1950s. You know, like they are still around, still functioning. People are still taking picture of them. How good is that? And then let's see now. And who is several frame and nominated? Panasonic L1. Rightio. Okay, that is definitely interesting because that was the only 4/3 cameras that Panasonic ever produces before they moved into micro 4/3. And I do have a picture of the L1 because Leica also made, oh, not this one, Leica also made this as basically a clone again. I mean, them two always have something together, just a little bit of a weird thing. And I'm just trying to find that camera there now, and let's see. Oh, I found the ME Super. I found it. I just didn't label it properly. And there you go. That's the Panasonic L1. It's actually not a bad looking camera, to be honest. I do actually quite like the look of it. It's really, really cool. And that's interesting. Ryan Wu EPL1. Whoa, that's old school in digital terms. Nice one, Ryan. And let's see, Victor Scorpan. Oh my God, you got Ximena. Wait for it. I got Ximena photo here. Ximena. There we go. Ta-da! Look at this camera here. So old school, right? Right. This is a very typical Russian cameras in the days because if you look back at the old Russian states and the USSR and obviously materials, money, affordabilities, you know, all can be an issues, and but that didn't stop manufacturers and designers designing something that basically functional. It may not be aesthetically pleasing. I'm trying to use the right word here, damn it. Oh dear. And okay, this is the Ximena camera. Okay, right. It's a fully functional camera. You can take picture. That's it. You know. And then but to be honest, you know, they can be a memorable cameras for many, and especially people who may not be able to afford the proper cameras. Well, okay, I keep using the wrong word. Sorry, I do apologize for those people who, you know, who may not buy bigger brands, for instance, and these are still a completely viable option, right? You can, you know, still take photos. Like I mentioned so many times, cameras are just tools for photography, right? You don't have to worry about what brand, what specs you got. As long as it can have shutter speed control, aperture control, and that's all you need. Especially on film days, you just need to chuck a negative in the back, and that's it. Snap, done. So this is a camera. This is still a fully functional camera that can allow you to take photograph, and that's what counts, right? And but Ximena, really, really good. Okay, I like that. Thank you very much for bringing that up. You know what, yeah? Among the entire list here, and I did spend some time looking at them, and I'm trying to dig in a little bit of history and trying to find out what they are and things like that. And because I obviously, even though I'm can be geeky at times, and I'm not geeky enough to know every single models out there. So it's quite good to see some of the names that I never really heard of, and just try and dig in a little bit on the internet, and then found all these photos and things like that. It just really amazes me, and this is why I love you guys. You know, and it just amazing. You know, the wealth of knowledge that you guys have, and also like your backgrounds and everything. You know, you just totally amazes me, and I just love to learn from all of you, whatever you like, and it's just amazing, just what keep me going. That's so cool. Right, and of course, you know, Victor also up of Simena, he also mentioned about the Zenit ET. I did tell you that the Zenit is definitely by far one of the most popular Russian cameras, and in fact, I mean, I personally own 6 of them, and that's how popular it is. It's just really cool, especially the lens is actually not that bad at all. If you like some of those vintage looking thing, you know, and like the swirly bokeh, the Helios is actually very good. He actually mentioned about the 58 f2. It's actually a very cool vintage lens. Go online, dig it up. They're not expensive at all. Trying to grab one and mount it on your Olympus camera, because it's very interesting, trust me. Mr. Bill Morrison, EM10 would be your one, because that's what changes you from full frame or DSLR to a mirrorless camera. Thank you. So EM10 was your camera. Like me, the EM5 Mark 1 was that camera who switched me from full frame Canon full DSLR to the mirrorless world. Excellent stuff. And finally, Nicholas, Praktica TL. Whew. I do have a picture as well. Praktica, and there we go. Praktica is made from East Germany. And then it's also one of those old school SLR, and like I said, it's also fully functional using M42 mount, which is actually widely available at the time. Zenit uses M42, Praktica uses M42, and in fact the mount was so popular, there's so many cameras using M42 mount, and that is the exact reason why if you get one of these bodies, like the Zenit, the Praktica, and all the others, even like certain Pentax cameras, you can mount all sorts of lenses to them. You know, like, it's really cool, right? You know, you got a virtually unlimited amount of lenses you can choose on the market. That's how good it is. Right, cool stuff. And let's see now. I'm gonna go outside, switch the location. Let's go outside to have a talk, right? And let me just switch on my wireless transmitter. Yay! We're gonna go high tech now. I'm gonna go high tech. That will be cool. Let's see. I'm going to start talking about with your stuff now, and let me see. Once the camera signal is boosted up, and I will be able to see something. Hang on a second, it's going there, it's going there. Drink a couple of more coffee as well, because I go out. Tetsu, I just saw your comment, Pentax 110. Whoa, that is awesome. Right, I got something. Right, okay. Now, let me just tidy up a little bit before I head outside, even though my garden looks like shit at the moment, but please bear with me. I will need my ND filter for my camera, because obviously this thing will not work too well without ND filters, because it's just way too bright out there, because I'm using a 1.2 lens. I want to see some bokeh, guys, bokeh. Right, I'm going to switch over to that camera now. There you go, you can see me nice and clear. That's too dark, you can't see me. Right, let's go outside. Let's go outside and have some fun. Shall we? Shall we have some fun? I think we should, because outside is nice and it's cool. I got my iPad. I'm gonna bring it down here. So let's see if I can mount it on the tripod and then lock it up. Oh, it's still a little bit bright, isn't it? Oh, God. Right, I think I may have to rise it up a little bit, bring into the shadow, because it's definitely a little bit too bright. Okay, because I want to see bokeh. Oops, I just hit my kid's slider back. Right, okay. Can you guys see me good? I just want to double check everything. Oh, I can still see the thing. Okay, 1 second, I'm going to be back. And then because the picture is still showing, which kind of blocks me. Right, there we go. Okay, I'm back. Right, I got my iPad finally. How come I'm in the totally wrong height? Okay, let me just open up. How good is that to do a live stream like this? I think it's cool, isn't it? I can go out to the garden and do stuff. Let me just tilt up the camera just a tad. And there we go. Yeah, that looks good, right? How cool is that? Do you like this? Actually out in the door, out in the open. That looks good. Right, and I'm just trying to see how come it's spinning. How come the thing is spinning? I'm hoping that it's not something that is right. Let me just go up again. Right, so how are you guys getting on? How can you see this okay? I just want to get some comments and get some feedback just to make sure that my live is continuing doing okay. So just making sure it's connecting. And for some reason, you know what, my comment section has disappeared, and that is no good. That is no good. Uh-oh. Right, sorry guys, I'm trying to get to talk to you guys, and but for some reason my comment section disappeared. Right, let me just restart YouTube on my iPad. Hopefully I can continue my conversation out here because it's nice and cool here. The air is definitely lovely. I would like to continue this, and I don't know if it's a connection here, but it's definitely not connecting the comment section, which is a bit of a bummer. Let's see if my phone has better luck. Let me just 1 second. Which is a bit of a bummer. Let's see if my phone. Right, okay guys, I have luck because my phone is working, so I can see your comments. Excellent, excellent. Change mood is great. Excellent. Okay, I can see all of you guys. That is fantastic. And right, whoa, you got so many comments here. So I will try to read some of them, and then let's see, go through. We go from there. Okay, I like this. Okay, Julian, you said I love disposable cameras, and then from Kodak. And now, of course, Pen F is your favorite camera. Yep, that's cool. That's cool. And let me just continue going. Christian, you said my first digital Olympus was the E300 with the Kodak sensor. Right, this is interesting because there were only a handful of camera sensor manufacturers back in the I would say the early 2000s and stuff like that. And in fact, if you look at the overall digital development, Kodak was one of the handful of companies actually invested in the sensor, even though they kind of missed the boat for the digital thing. And then so a lot of the sensors was actually produced with Kodak digital technology, especially for their color science. Because why? Kodak makes films, and then they're known for the colors and things like that, and of course they are popular. Even Leica used Kodak sensors for quite a few years before they eventually move on to other manufacturers. And but anyway, so that's the history now. So they used to use Kodak sensors. That's why people still love the unique look from the Kodak colors and their pop, supposedly. That's the word they use, pop. So this is interesting that you actually mentioned about the Kodak sensors on the original E300. But one thing about of course, the CCD technology from Kodak sensor was the dynamic range. You know, they can't really go past 400 ISO, and then it just looks crap afterward, unfortunately. But before that, you know, when you're shooting at ISO 50, 100, 200, they are absolutely stunning. The color was just like that. It's just really lovely. And Lucid, you said that you got the FM3A alongside with my father's FM2. Both are mechanical masterpieces. Yes, they are. Absolutely gorgeous camera. I think they are fantastic cameras there, both FM2 and FM3. I'm still really gutted and regretted that I kind of never kept my the FM3A. You know, I really should have kept it, but I sold it. I kind of really want to stack myself for it, you know, and it's not very good. Let's see what other things I have here. Morgan, I had a Mamiya SLR for 1 week hike. So and when I was back home, I looked for something lighter, and I bought my first OM1. And this is kind of like a similar message, like throughout the entire Micro Four Thirds evolution. And Olympus or Micro Four Thirds in general is always kind of gunning for the portability and lightweight. And yeah, because there are many photographers, many camera equipments out there, whether it's going to be full frame or whether it's going to be medium format. People got different needs. So medium format traditionally are people who are really aiming for studio environments that people don't really go out and move a lot, for instance. And I'm not suggesting they can't be. You know, there are lots of old master film photographers using like proper medium format, you know, like Rolly for street photography. You know, so it can be done. But whether you want to lug that sort of weight and equipment with you every single day. For me, I always like to have lighter gear. You know, that's one of the reasons why I moved to Olympus in the first place, is because it is lighter, it is more portable. I can hike for longer, hike for higher in the mountains without having to bear that weight in my back. I mean, I'd rather use that weight capacity to bring a couple of more bottled waters and maybe more food and more clothing than have to stuff my back with just the lenses itself, because they are huge and heavy. And like a story that I told you before, when I went to China to hike up to 3,000 feet high in the mountain, I was carrying the original 5D, and it was really killing my back by the time I reached the top. And I mean, I wish I had the EM1 back then, but that wasn't the case. So let's scroll on. And PEC, you nominated camera a D850. Well, that's a fairly recent camera. But because you had to select after cancer left half of my face. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry to hear that. And but you like the EM1 Mark III now, right? I see. Okay. Well, first of all, I'm so sorry to hear that. You know, and but I'm hoping you're getting better and better now. And I'm also very glad that you can once again enjoy photography. You know, like I mentioned. It's not about your gear, you know, as long as you can enjoy photography, this is what counts, you know. And don't really care what sort of camera you use, whether you use an iPhone, whether you use something, you know, it doesn't really matter, you know. Enjoyment, whatever brings smiles on your face, that's what counts. And so far, you like the EM1 Mark III, that's gorgeous because it's got stabilization. I think it's in a way, it's quite good for, especially that's why one of the reasons why I think a lot of the photographer like is that if they have shaky hands, you know, they're just not comfortable holding it very still. And in that case, the Olympus IBIS definitely help for that situation. So Trevor, your most memorable camera was the Kodak disposable film camera. I got a lot of surprised look. Really, you did that? Okay. And Wim Cantors, Nicomat FT3. That's a very technical camera to use, to be honest. The Nicomat is used by a lot of journalists, and it's not an easy camera to use. Very tanky, very boxy, and it's nice. It's nice, and I haven't really personally handled one in terms of like actually shooting it, but it's a nice camera. I mean, I like it. Just like the look of it. It just looks like one of these old-time Mercedes kind of thing. You know what I mean? Very boxy but classy at the same time. And Peter, you like the Leica MP? Yeah, of course it oozes quality. It's Leica at the end of the day. I love Leicas. Who doesn't? Well, for people maybe. I don't know. And okay, how about Ibram, you said Olympus OM4 Ti. Well, this is one of the cameras I was actually looking at. Is a OM4 cameras. So it's a kind of digital, well, not digital. It's a electronic controlled OM film cameras, but it's built to the professional specs. So it's actually a very sexy looking camera, so especially the Ti version, which stands for titanium. And right, okay, this is a confession. It's a bit of an obsession that I love titanium stuff. Well, I don't know why, but I do. unfortunately. So I do have some titanium cameras lying around in my backyard as well. And I have the Minolta Dynix 9 Ti. There's also titanium colors. Not color, actual proper made titanium. And then of course the OM3 Ti and the OM4 Ti. So they're all made with titanium. I also have the Apple PowerBook titanium back in the late 90s, and that is also a gorgeous looking computer, but they're all made from titanium. Whew, I don't know, just the word sounds cool, isn't it? When you have titanium, I have a titanium camera. Doesn't look cool, and it sounds cool as well. And let's see what else in here. Rob shoot photo, you know a few Casios, and that's what I was going to say, fashion. Yep, they were fashionable, I'm telling you. You know, a lot of my fashionable female friends used to use a lot of Casio cameras because they just looks cool. And I'm not joking, yeah. Anyone who held a Casio point-and-shoot camera was considered as cool. There you go, I said it. Way better than the Coolpix, because they're just not cool compared to Casio cool. Casio cool is just way cooler than Nikon cool. Shit, am I talking rubbish here? I think I'm kind of talking rubbish. But Coolpix is definitely not as cool as Casio Extreme cool, if it makes sense. Right, oh, David Intel, you are talking about Canon F1. Wow, that is a gorgeous camera. I love the Canon F1. I was so close to buying one, and but I didn't get one at the end. I got the A1 instead. It's a professional camera from Canon back in the days using FD mounts, as you know. It's a really gorgeous professional built SLRs back in the days that is used in a lot of professional stadiums, including Olympics and stuff like that. So it's a very capable film SLR cameras. The OVF, I keep saying that, viewfinder, is definitely very good. Very, very good. Era is Pentax ME Super, same thing. And Marco, yeah, you posted a comment, community post about the 8080 wide zoom. Yes. Yeah, I think I talked about it already. So let's continue here. And let's see, a lot of OM1 here, OM2 especially. Ooh, wow. Terry Day, you talked about Nikon F2. Wow, okay, that's nice, that's nice. And John Allen EPL5 is a great bit of blogging kit. Yeah, actually, you know what? Yeah, a lot of the EPL series cameras were very popular among bloggers. Not so much about vloggers, because the video capability is just not as great as today's cameras. But in sort of blogging, I think it's a very popular thing among, you know, people who do that sort of thing for a living, especially people who love to write blogs, because they need photographs to accompany their writing, right? And the EPL series, not only they're portable, but they also kind of mimic the Casio cool that I just mentioned. Yeah, now, the EPL series are always kind of cool looking, kind of get the vibe going. You know, there's a lot of bloggers always have these EPL cameras, and they're just looking cool. You know, when they're holding in one, just they know that you're the fashionable type. You know, your blog, you know, you're definitely a blogger, right? You know, you get this cool camera dangling around your neck or your waist. It's actually very, very cool. And let's see. And Todd Johnson, you have Olympus OM10, 1, 2. Wow, my God. You have all of them. What, 10, 1, 2S, 4, 4T, Ti, I suppose. And then the EM5, EM5 original and EM1 Mark II. You got a collection there going, mate. Yeah, Volvion, I talked about the DP1 Volvion sensor. And hello, D River from Los Angeles, hello. And yeah, some of you did recognize the Canon Pro 1. That's amazing, that's amazing. Oh, Terry Day, you got another camera nominated, X100. You want to share your story why the X100 is a very, very cool camera for you. And oh, John Carter, your father's Leica M3. So another Leica popped up on the list now. Yes, like I mentioned, the M2, M3, M4, 5, 6, they're all brilliant cameras. Although mechanically, they actually aren't that much difference at all compared between all of them. I think they just simply change the number to bring a little bit more life from it. Because essentially, they are the same thing. Apart from the M3 got different magnification for the viewfinders and just slightly different construction, but in terms of gearings and things like that, the overall fundamental design theories is exactly the same throughout the entire history. All the rangefinders are probably about the same. And of course, the M6 has a built-in meter, which is slightly different, so is the M5. But apart from that, the M4, 3, 2, they are practically the same cameras. And let's see, my first mirrorless was the Olympus EPL1, and I still often use. Wow, you still use the EPL1? Amazing. And Moonraker, you said, I would say the most memorable camera would be Kodak DCS520. Holy cow, did you have one of those things? Wow, that's amazing. Cool. And my first DSLR, as I couldn't afford, is a used 10D at the time. Wow, okay, cool. 10D is actually kind of the cameras at the time as well. And Don McKee, hi Jimmy, OM10 and now the EM5 Mark II modified to full spectrum specs to shoot infrared. Who shoots infrared around here? I think this is something that I need to try. I think it's really cool. And yeah, it's interesting. You converted EM5 Mark II for full spectrum infrared. Nice. And Tetsu, you know, I think I kind of did a shout out already. That's the Pentax 110. Did I say that? I don't know. I must have said something, whether to you guys on this channel here or I said it on my Facebook. I think I said it on my Facebook. I am personally a Pentax 110 lover. I said it. I meant it. I love it. I love the 110 cameras. I don't know why. They're just cute and tiny with lots of tiny little cute lenses. And I just don't know why. You know, even though it looks silly on me, like on my hand, I just have to hold a little camera like this. I have to like do the manual focus with a tiny little lens in front of it. But it's cool. I have 3 cameras and the entire collection of lenses in my bag that is barely bigger than a camera bag that can hold my Pen F. And that's how small the entire kit was. And I have all the variants of the Pentax 110. So I have the original 110, I have the 110 Super. I also have the Safari. I have basically everything apart from the transparent 110. But in terms of lenses, I have the entire collection that ever produced for the 110. That's how crazy I am. Every time I see a 110 camera, I cannot just resist that temptation. I just go and have a look at it. If I found it's nicer, something nice about it, I grab it. I don't know why. It's just kind of a weird collector things. But I do like the Pentax 110. And actually, something I want to make a video about is because the Pentax 110 is, in terms of the negative size, is actually very, very similar to Micro Four Thirds. So if you use one of these Pentax 110 lenses and mount it on the EM10 or any sort of Micro Four Thirds cameras, you can technically produce the same kind of look and feel of like a Micro Four Thirds photography. Apart from that, the lens of it is slightly more vintage, so you have the kind of nostalgic look into it, yet it's kind of made for the Micro Four Thirds in a way, because the negative size is very, very similar to Micro Four Thirds. But I do like the Pentax 110 camera, so it's a very, very interesting thing. Let's see. And Udo, you said my picture is I shoot with Alpha ISO Rapid 1. Whoa. And Romain, you have the Canon ISIS. Right. Remember I told you about the Casio X-Slim cool cameras, you know, these kind of made for all the fashionables out there. The Canon ISIS was the main rival for the Casio back in the time. So their range of ISIS cameras were very, very popular. Most people love those cameras because they look cool as well, you know, like the XM series. The ISIS actually very slim, very small, yet very capable because it's, of course, Canon, right? They have the typical signature Canon colors there. The functionalities is there. The menus are absolutely easy to use, just like typical Canon. So yeah, it's kind of like they're really fighting like head to head, you know, between the two. Nikon Coolpix was always kind of like the 3rd or 4th tier when it comes to fashionable, like carry around pocket point and shoot cameras kind of category. And but like Casio and Canon really were fighting, so that was really interesting camera. But the ISIS, I remember ISIS, really, really cool. Excellent. And Okay, let's see. Can you comment on the news? Okay, S visor. Okay, right. I might as well set it right here now since I'm here. So a lot of you guys have been asking me about the South Korea thing, and yes, they have closed down the business, and that's an announcement officially from Olympus Korea themselves. But you know, there's nothing to say if they want to close down the operation. Is something that they may want to do that. But having said that, they are keeping the service centers, which are responsible for after sales and also support for people who want to service the camera and repair the cameras until 2026. So you really never know. At the moment, I would guess there are two things going on there. One is camera market is definitely the demand, especially for this year, is not very good. You know, in general anyway. And secondly, there is a political issues there between South Korea and Japan, because there's a trade war going on there. There's a boycott issues for all Japanese product. So Olympus is not immune to it. And in fact, I would say as far as all the other cameras like Fujifilm, Sony, and all are affected in Korea. So it really depends whether others will follow suit, depending what sort of how severe it is. But I presume Nikon and Canon, because they're probably big enough anyway, so they may be able to absorb any sort of decrease in sales for the time being. But you never know, because Nikon especially, Nikon has been in trouble for quite a few years already, so you just never know whether that will happen. But lucky enough, they have a lot of pro market, so so that can still kind of sustain the market just a little bit more, a bit longer. So in terms of consumer level, you just don't know, because I don't know how severe, how big the boycott issue is at the moment for any Japanese good in South Korea. So it's hard to tell at this moment in time. But Olympus made a decision, but they're leaving the service sector in the service repair centers in South Korea until 2026. So there's still room for them to reintroduce the market back in if the market does improve in the next year or two, depending on these COVID-19 and pandemic issues at the moment. If once that goes away, if the market picks up, you really don't know. At the moment, they have said that they're going to close it, but they never say never, just like many things. I said it. That's it. That's my view. You know, of course, I'm an Olympus ambassador, but I don't represent the management, so of course I cannot say anything more than what I observe and what I understand about the situation in general anyway. And but I can easily name 2 or 3 other companies that are also struggling badly. And so they could be the next one to go in terms of market-wise, so I'm entirely sure. But you don't have to worry about Olympus at all, full stop, because from my understanding, they're very strong financially. I don't know what people are thinking about. I know there are a lot of internet rumors once again talking about Olympus being busted and things like that, and that is not the case. They are very, very strong financially. Like I mentioned so many times, I don't know why you guys keep asking me, because Olympus relies on their medical side to make money. The camera company, the camera department, the imaging company, and I keep saying company, the imaging department is for the R&D, for the medical equipment. And then there you go. There's always been an expense there, so they don't really mind about that. And it's all about their passion. Their passion is actually about photography. So they love, remember, they love us. They love us photographers out here. They want us to enjoy photography. So they will be there for as long as they can. That's it. I said it. Okay, and Ray is finally here. Hello guys, and he's a wildcard. I love my Minolta High Matic AF2. Whoa la la. And I know he uses FE and OM1. Yes, he said it already. And Ray, you're showing off now. You're just telling us all the cameras that you have in analog stuff. And wow, okay, all right. Remember the Sony make cameras using 3.5 inches discs. I remember. Oh, you know that Pro 1 cameras that I showed you earlier? Yeah? That camera can accept micro discs. Do you know what that is? If you guys are too young to know about what micro discs is, they are basically a CF card, but has a mechanical disc inside. Yeah, it's weird, right? It's actually a CF card housing a little mini kind of tiny macro size hard drive in it. It goes as up to 4 gigabyte, which is actually nothing by today's standard. But back in the days, all your photographs like 2-3 megapixels, nothing big. So like even if you shoot raw, it's not going to be killing your thing. So 1 gigabyte is already like 1 terabyte in today's world. So that's the difference. Excellent. Okay, let's see. Ray is good. So, oh, he's still trying to like the XA. Okay. I caught up mostly. The first YouTube, I was just thank you, Victor. Thank you. The first YouTube photography channel as you subscribed was the Red 35 Photography. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you, and really amazing. So Morgan said that my first digital camera was an Epson. Oh yeah, Epson. I totally forgot about them. They used to make digital cameras too. They also make a lot of digital accessories. Although like now they're more known to their scanners and printers and stuff like that. Also other you know, printers stuff, you know, commercial things, but they used to be in the camera industry, and Epson was actually cool. One of the most popular, or kind of like a cult classic cameras from Epson now, is the RD1 camera, right? They are rangefinder digital. They basically converted the Voigtlander rangefinder bodies into a digital a body. So it's actually really cool. It's a very cool camera, and this is another camera that I'm hoping to collect at some point, because it's a weird but a very cool idea in terms of digital camera. Right, let me tell you a little bit about RD1. And then the Epson RD1 is, well, first of all, it's a rangefinder camera, and they literally really just converted the Voigtlander Basa rangefinder camera into a digital body by putting a digital sensor at the back where the film plane is, and that's it. The whole body shape and everything remain the same. Even you have to cock the film rewind lever to for the next shot. It's absolutely cool, right? It's actually mechanical spring for the next shutter. That's cool. And also at the top plate, you also have these analog dials to show you the battery life, the also total number of photos that you remain in the shots and so forth. And those dials were made by Seiko, which is another really cool watch companies, and they made those dials. So the whole thing is absolutely something. Even though it only has 6 megapixel, yeah, but the sensors were fully properly developed using rangefinder technologies. You know, so the end of the sensor photo sights is actually tilted a little bit to making sure the rangefinder lenses will hit the sensor at the correct angle, so there will be no color shifting and color vignetting and things like that. So it's really awesome rangefinder cameras, and I'm so shocked they never really continued the development, make it into Mark II, Mark III, for instance. So it kind of really stopped in one generation, even though they did introduce the RD1S and then all the other kind of minor tweak to the actual basically same cameras afterward. But it's a shame. It's a shame they never continued, because I do like the camera. I think it's a very unique camera on its own. It's something that they should continue. But unfortunately, I think Epson decided to exit the camera industry in general, so they just concentrate on the scanners and printer eventually. But yeah, that is one hell of a camera. I think it's really cool. And let's see. Okay, and Heart Tacta and 450D to EP3 to EM5 Mark 1 and X100, and back to EM5 1 and 2, and now shooting at X100 again. And the camera just make you want to shoot and hold it, but still can't beat the EM5 Mark 1 plus the 25 1.4 in combo in terms of focus and IBIS. I think it's a little bit more about shooting experience, right? You know, what do you guys think about, you know, using something with IBIS and without IBIS? And I personally, I don't think I can go back to something that is non-IBIS anymore. I'm so used to the smoothness, the stillness from a Olympus camera. I personally like the stabilized footage. So at least like maybe I'm getting old, you know, I always get a bit dizzy if I'm thinking something a little bit more shaky, especially using longer tele lenses. So these days I'm so used to just looking at the viewfinder, everything just so static. It's just like looking through a really nice, gorgeous TV. It's just like really cool. And awesome. Right, finally, wow, I'm reaching the end of the comment. That's cool. The blue reverend. And the most memorable, probably my first digital SLR, the Nikon D50. Favorite currently is my Nikon FA and for film, and Leica M8 for digital. Whoa, nice. I like the M8. Right, M8 is another camera that utilizes Kodak CCD sensor. We talked about Kodak sensor earlier, and they obviously have something about the Kodak sensor. The color definitely is something different. Apparently, the Kodak sensors for the Leica cameras, including the M8 and M9, are both tuned to make it look like Kodachrome. Yes, you heard that right. It's about Kodachrome, right? And then for those people who used to shoot with Kodachrome, you know that you can't get your hands on the Kodachrome anymore. You can actually get the M8 or the M9, get the same look. Apparently, that's what he says anyway. That's why people talk about the Kodak CCDs, the Kodak Pop in the Leica cameras. That's exactly what it is. And sorry, made the name ages ago. Never mind, don't worry about it. Yeah, you know, sometimes I just find it a little bit difficult to mention about names, and then I would like to obviously say your own name, and if I can, and but sometimes it is a little bit difficult. Right, let's go back a little bit, and because I can't scroll back too far ahead. So Kevin, you mentioned about Olympus C5050Z. Powerful little compact cameras in the day, got me super excited about photography. This is exactly what I talk about, your most memorable cameras, you know, something that really inspire you to take photographs. So whatever that is, you know, this is what today's episode and this video is all about. I'm really happy to see so many, and really your enthusiasm, yeah, your interactions is just really blow my mind, and the amount of information I get, the amount of information you guys give me on my community posts was just amazing. You know what, I was having so much fun just going onto the internet and dig up individual cameras that you mentioned on the list, and I was so curious and interested in looking through them. You know, call me a geek, but it is really, really fun, right? And then if you've got time, of course, you know, it took me a few hours just to go through all of them, just to find out exactly what these cameras are. I know some of them already because I personally own them, but some of them I just never even heard of, like the Simena, the Russian camera. That, you know, I think I've seen it before, but I've never really looked at one or learned about them. But now I've seen it. You know, really cool. So I'm so happy that you guys have sent me so much stuff to talk about, and amazing. So I thank you guys for doing that, and really once again to thank you guys for support. I know that my YouTube channel has seen a little bit of a lack of action lately because of all this COVID-19 issues. I won't be able to go outside and film and stuff like that, but I'm really enjoying every single time right here talking to you guys live, and it's just an amazing experience for me. I'm really enjoying it too. So I hope you guys enjoyed the Photography 101 live, and I'm pretty sure that I'm going to continue this series and for the foreseeable future, even though when I'm able to go out and shoot again. And if you guys want to talk about something more specific, please do drop me a line, and then let me know in the comment, something like that, and I'll pick it up from there and hopefully develop into a full-blown conversation like today, and that would be awesome, right? And with the latest streaming options that I have right now here, so I can actually go and demonstrate stuff live as well, which is really, really cool. And the EM5, the EM1 Mark III I'm using now, it's got really fantastic tracking. Like I can do in and out. Look at that. You can even track me. I'm just looking at the screen now. That looks good. And also look at the bokeh. Who said Michael Four Thirds cannot have bokeh, right? This is called bokeh, right? Yeah, I can shoot 1.2 and get all the freaking bokeh you want. Yeah, that's cool. Excellent stuff. So thank you again for joining me, and I'm hoping that you guys enjoyed this particular 101 live, and if you've got any other thing that you want me to talk about, don't forget to send me a message. You can personally contact me. Of course, I have my buy me a coffee link this way. Buy me a coffee link somewhere. I don't know which side now because the camera switch, and then so that you can support this channel, support me in general, and I'm going to have something announced very, very soon. Stay tuned for that because it's very interesting. It's about to involving you guys in photography, so really stay tuned. You will get some reward at the end of it as well. So yes, stay tuned. I don't want to leak too much because I'm still working with the sponsor at the moment. So once I get the approval, I will announce what it is, and I'm pretty sure you'll get very excited about it. So stay tuned. And anyway, any other things I want to say here? Probably not now. And fantastic. I love it. I love you guys. I really do love you guys. And really, sometimes I do want to shed some tears because, you know, all the support I received from you guys is just fantastic so far. You know, these 3 months has been really tough for me. This year has been really tough for me. Last year was really good for me because, you know, obviously everything was going on. I got my project, you know, and then I made ambassadors, and all kinds of things was going up. My business was going the right directions, everything was growing. But this year it's just complete chaos. But you guys are right here standing with me, and I really cannot say more thank you than that. So thank you guys. And then from the bottom of my heart, and stay safe, and thank you for your continued support. And don't forget to, you know, follow me on my Facebook. If you want to hear from me every single day, you're very welcome to join me on Facebook, and my link is in the description, so you can follow me there. I have a daily stream in the morning every day. And by the way, these sort of merchandise, Olympus merchandise, is cool. And you can buy them as well. And I already spoke to Olympus, and looks like they may be able to ship it abroad or anywhere in the world. So that is a good news for you guys. If you want to get something like this, if you're an Olympus fanboy, you can get them very, very soon. So I'll confirm that, of course, once it's all approved, but I'll let you know in due course. Anyways, I'm going to go back in and switch off, and then and say proper goodbye for you guys. And right, I'm here, and let me switch off from this camera here. So now I am back here. Yes, yes, I'm back. Thank you, thank you. Oh, Tetsu, 谢谢. Thank you. And arigatou gozaimasu. And thank you very much. And I was saying goodbye here once again. And yes, I don't know what else to say apart from thank you. I'm gonna bring my eyes, I'm gonna drop my tears now. So another great live session with you guys, and hope to see you guys next week. So yeah, like I said, if you got anything special you want to talk about, anything that you would like to investigate a little bit more, perhaps whether it's going to be technology, whether it's going to be you know, anything to do with filmmaking, photography, Olympus, of course, do let me know, and I will be super happy to talk about it. And of course, talk to you guys, whatever it is. You know, this is what this live session is all about. It's all about interactions, and like I have a whole bunch of friends listening to me, a whole bunch of friends talking to each other. It's amazing vibe, right? This is really cool. So thank you very much, and I will speak to you all soon, and look out for my new videos, and I'm hoping to produce more. But I think in the next 2 weeks it's still going to be a struggle because I've got a couple of projects that I need to finish for some other clients. So you will see some of them posted very, very soon. But I got some exciting stuff, something exciting coming. Okay, anyway, I do too much now. Victor, you don't have a Facebook account. Oh, damn it. And cool stuff. Right, excellent stuff. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you guys soon. Have fun and enjoy the rest of the week. Yeah, the sun is definitely shining. Go outside now. Bye for now.